You don't have to stay in any truth if you don't like it, because the other truth is just as valid. You just haven't experienced it yet. You don't have the awareness of it yet, because I want to share this one mindset shift that is so powerful that it can help you instantly dissolve unnecessary suffering and self-inflicted suffering. It'll help you stop folding for fear, stop letting fear and anxiety block you and manage you in your manifestations, and it'll help you manifest more efficiently and quicker. I am a first-generation entrepreneur and artist, and I'm currently on my second solo trip. And I also am neurodivergent and an introvert and a bit awkward, and I do have anxiety, so this mindset shift has been helping me navigate all of that with so much grace, and it has brought me a very strong sense of inner peace that allows me to continue to pursue my purpose and not be swayed by any perceived limitations or the illusion of limitation or circumstance, which I'll talk more about. The mindset shift is like so simple but so complex at the same time. It's like the truth is not fixed. Both blessing and challenge exist together. It's about retraining our brains to stop seeing just the lack in every situation. If you look for the lack in any situation, you will find it, because lack and abundance are kind of inseparable, kind of like yin and yang, like opposites are inseparable. I'll talk about that more. But there will always be the good and the bad. Even when you manifest your blessings, it will come with its own set of challenges, So you can't always have full control over the physical circumstances, but you can always have control over your experience and your awareness of them. Because think about it, like that is your life, like that is life. You want the experience of reality, right? Not the matter itself. Hear me out. You don't want the physical, like money, success, beauty. You want the experience, the feelings that come with those experiences. Money is paper, okay? Like money is a concept. Like it's not the money, like the physical material. It's the safety that it brings, the security, the sense of freedom that you want to feel, right? And the breakthrough is that you don't have to wait on any physical circumstance or thing to change to feel that. So that experience depends on where your focus is going. And I feel like a lot of us are socialized and it's normalized to find the lack in a situation. For example, like if you have a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of money in your account, okay? Let's say you have $100 in your account. You could see it one of two ways. You could say, I only have $100 in my account. Or you could say, thank you 100 times for every single dollar in your account. Because you could see it as, I only have $100, or at least I don't have no dollars. At least my account isn't overdrawn. I have an abundance of $100. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I love a visual metaphor, so let me give you a little example, a little metaphor to help solidify this. If you take a look at this card, okay. Now, right now, me and you are experiencing two different sides of this card, but which side is the truth? The card is both, okay? Now, if I wanted to experience your side of the card, what you're seeing, I could do a few things. I could flip the card around, I could move myself, I could do a lot of things, okay? And that is what I mean by your awareness. You always have control over. I don't have control necessarily over the card, what it is, but what I do with it, how I experience, I do have control over that, right? Does that make sense? So this card represents matter or circumstance. When the moon is full, right, the other side is completely black. So is the moon fully lit or is the moon dark? The answer is yes. You know what I'm saying? Two completely opposite truths can exist at the same time. So back to this card example, right? It's all about perspective. You can have two different experiences of this card, or multiple. You can experience both truths at the same time. You always have control over your awareness, your perspective, how you want to experience your circumstances and where you are at. You are never powerless. You will always be able to find some beauty, some lesson, some opportunity in any situation. So I want to talk about applying this in real life. I'll give you some examples. So as I said, I'm solo traveling, and in like my second week, first of all, I didn't come here with much money because I was just taking a quantum leap of faith, right? And I set up systems to where I can make money here. And I ended up getting sick and having to spend a big portion of my budget on medical expenses. And that really fluttered my nervous system because I was thinking, oh, how am I going to have enough for the rest of the trip? Like, I'm going to be stranded. I'm not going to be able to blah, 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 right? And so there's two ways I could see that situation. I could see that as I had this huge inconvenience. I don't have enough money for the rest of the trip. I don't know what I'm going to do. Or I could see it as I had enough money to cover medical expenses for an emergency, and I still have money in my account after. I had to constantly retrain my brain to stop looking for the lack in the situation. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, what if this happens in the future? That is me focusing on lack, on something that I might not have in the future, coming back to the present. Do I still have money in my account? Yes. Do I still have ways to make money while I'm here? Yes. And continuing to focus on that and to shift my energy, pull my energy back from the present, not ruminating on the past, on all these external things that you can't control sometimes. I focused on what I could control, what I wanted to experience, and I ended up having the best sales week I've ever had. I was making at least a sale every day for a week straight and made up everything that I spent at the doctor's in a week. And that's just from working abroad, like doing even less than what I'm doing at home. Just from making that energy shift. Because I think what we unconsciously do without knowing is we focus on the lack. When we're ruminating on the future, we're focusing on what we don't have in the present, okay? When we're ruminating in the past, we're focused on something we didn't get enough of. Either way, it's suggesting that the present, what you have right now, isn't enough, but you have an abundance of resources in the present constantly, even if it's just in your mind, and that is more than enough to transform your physical, because from what I've learned, the physical is a shapeshifter. One day I was sitting and I was looking at the money in my account and I was stressed. Once I shift my energy to be thankful for every dollar in my account, the next day I'm getting multiple sales. Next day I'm getting deposits every other day from Etsy in my account. Things can shift fast. That is possible. You could be one action, one mindset shift away from completely experiencing a whole new truth that you aren't even aware of. How would you know what's on the other side of this car? If you refuse to do something differently, to change something about how you're looking at the situation, you won't be able to find the opportunity, the beauty, the lesson in it. There's an opportunity everywhere, because what had happened to me when I got sick was an opportunity for growth. It pointed out how I was unconsciously looking and checking for lack. For example, also with like something I had with content creation was that I was always checking my phone, always checking my notifications, waiting for, I suppose, that shift, that video to take off, those sales, that sales momentum, and it would happen sometimes, but I realized my phone became a big source and reminder of the separation between me and what I wanted. And so I had moments where I just had to put my phone away, transition out of checking, out of anticipating, looking for confirmation in the physical, into just being present and being playful. And that's when I had that kind of financial breakthrough with my business. Don't wait on the physical to change before you experience what you want, before you change your perspective. That doesn't make any sense, because the physical, the circumstances, the things that come to you, a lot of things are a reflection of your internal world. So when you have that 10K in your account or whatever, are you going to be like, dang, I only have 10K? No, start now. Start now. Because it's true that to some people, to a lot of people, if you view it a certain way, 10K isn't a lot. So if you have something, if you have anything, you have an abundance of it. Even if you have nothing, even when you have nothing, you have an abundance of lack. Do you have a lack of abundance, or do you have an abundance of lack? You know what I'm saying? The truth can always be flipped, can always be shifted in a million different ways, to see a million different opportunities out in ways we can't even comprehend. For example, also with social anxiety, like I think a lot of it comes from trying to place yourself in other people's heads and guess what they're thinking about you, and thinking, oh, they don't like me. Oh, what if everybody thinks I'm awkward? That could be you focusing on a lack, you thinking you don't have enough of a certain trait, or you thinking there's a lack of kindness in the rooms that you walk into, a lack of warmness or acceptingness, that most people are judgmental, that it's unsafe to be seen. Okay, that's very valid, and that does have truth to it, but the room responds to you and how you walk into it. Okay, the response you get is based on of how you walk in. So it's true that, yeah, some people might be judgmental, and it's also true that there are kind people in there thinking and feeling the same as you. What do you want to experience? Both will be there. You can't do anything about the negative, the judgmental people being there. But which matters more? Which reality do you want to experience? Because when you go in focusing on them, that's the reality that you're experiencing, because you're treating their perspective and that reality like it's truth, more true than the version that you want to experience. Does that make sense? For example, we can also take into account beauty. This is something that has really helped me find a lot of peace, even though I still have a long ways to go with beauty standards, especially as a Black woman. And yes, there are people who believe certain things about my features and my desirability, many people. And there are many people who think the opposite of those things. Like, that's just the truth, okay? Which matters more? Which do I want to experience? And so I walk into rooms and spaces and go about dating, assuming that I'll be received well, assuming that I'll attract people who view me as beautiful and as the prize and whatnot, okay? And that's how I'm received. That's what I experienced, truly. I have experienced the other side too, when I was in a more lack mindset, assuming that I lack certain features, certain beauties, certain things. Choose what opinions, what beliefs, what laws, what truths, what layer of the truth operates in your life. Because there's several. Failure versus success, right? Failure and success are the same thing. Failure at one thing is just success at another. You could be failing at chasing your dreams, succeeding at playing small. You could be failing at getting views or making sales, succeeding at gathering the information and the knowledge that will get you to the sales breakthrough, the visibility that transform your life. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on how you see the situation. Both truths are valid, both are factual. You get to choose what you want to experience though. And so if you feel like a victim to your circumstances, if you feel powerless, you are probably stuck in a perspective and beliefs that aren't serving you. And just know that the truth is not fixed. You don't have to stay in that truth if you don't like it. You don't have to stay in any truth that if you don't like it, because the other truth is just as valid. You just haven't experienced it yet. You don't have the awareness of it yet, because you are being trapped within a perspective and belief systems that don't serve you, that don't align with that version, okay? So flip the card around. That's all you got to do. Flip the card around, move yourself around, destroy the card, make a new card. You have so many options. Now, I want to clarify, this is not toxic positivity. This is almost neutrality. It's just the point of having a choice. Nobody else can tell you what you get to experience, where you get to direct your awareness, how you get to experience something, okay? You get to experience how you get to experience, okay? Even if you're looking at this side of the card that maybe isn't as beautiful or vibrant as this side, but what if it is? What if you love the simplicity of this side of this card, okay? You know what I'm saying? You get to decide how you experience things, if you want to experience things at all. Like, I don't think y'all are understanding how powerful perspective is. So as I was saying, it's not toxic positivity. Like, part of this is acknowledging the pain in the situation, the unfairness of the situation, the strife, the hardness of the situation, but also acknowledging that there's another side to it as well, that is not the full truth, the full story of the situation. There's always layers to it. There's always more to it, not just, oh, this is all bad. Like, no, there is something you can gain from that situation, something that you aren't seeing within that situation. It's just about being honest. You can acknowledge the pain, you can cry about it, but you don't need to live in it, because ask yourself, is your suffering necessary? Sometimes suffering and pain and crying and grieving is fully necessary for things like grief, heartbreak, illness, big life curveballs that we really can't control, and that it's not your job to try and regulate your emotions. It's your job to just be and to just break down and just cry, right? But oftentimes it's self-inflicted. It's worrying, anticipation, anxiety, all from our own thoughts, our own perspective that can be changed. It's not necessary. Life is hard enough. It doesn't need help being hard. And so if you think about it practically, logically, it's like, when has worrying about money ever brought you more money? The situation is what it is. How are you going to experience the situation? Where is your awareness going? Because that's what you're going to get more of, okay? If you want to experience more abundance, look at your situation, no matter how lackluster it seems, find the abundance in it and focus on that. And don't waver. and watch what happens. Try it for a week and watch what happens. And when you catch yourself focusing on lack, because it's so unconscious, that's what we're socialized to do, and that's why a lot of people don't have what they desires. When you catch yourself, just refocus. For example, I caught myself doing this earlier, and I got a big wad of cash when I first came here, and now I don't have that much left. And I pulled it out, and I was like, dang, I don't got no cash left, while I'm holding cash in my hand. If you still have money in your account, if you have resources to do something, hair on your head, you have an abundance of something. Just find the abundance in your situation. Focus on that. Stop focusing on all the wrong, all the lack, all the things that you can't control. Focus on what you do have, what you can do, and that's what you will get more of. Could that be why your circumstances aren't changing or aren't staying the same? Because you keep focusing on the same issues with it, okay? I felt like I was stagnant within a little bit within my business and my visibility, my growth on YouTube. Not stagnant per se, but it was slower than it could have been. I was constantly in check-in mode, waiting for some big breakthrough, waiting for, checking for, I'm not really sure what. But when I just allowed the algorithm to do its thing, just created, let go of what it was going to do. I can't force a sale. I can't force an outcome. I can just focus on what I want to experience, what I can control in this moment. It made a huge difference. Sorry if you can hear the rain. I'm kind of scared. Like, I'm at a restaurant and I have to walk a ways back to my villa. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because it's raining really hard. But I say all this to say, you are never a victim to your circumstances. You are always one shift, one perspective, one action away from experiencing a whole different reality. That is all. Bye.